I find it pretty amazing that this, the 986 Boxster, as controversial as it was, as disparaged as the headlights were, and still are to some, is not only a fantastic little sports car in its own right, but it's also the car that saved Porsche as we know it. Originally on sale in 1996, it was a bit polarizing. The automotive media was open-minded. The air-cooled snobs hated it. From the seats to the nose, it's basically the same as the yet-to-be-introduced 996, the first water-cooled 911. And as a cost-saving measure, Porsche integrated the headlights and turn signals into the single fried egg unit that both the Boxster and 911 would share. The earliest cars were fitted with a 2.5-liter flat-six pushing 200 horsepower, which is plenty for a sub 2,800-pound car. It was upped to a 2.7 in 2000, and the S's were all 3.2s with around 250 horsepower. These were available in automatic with the Tiptronic transmissions, which are perfectly fine. With the base model, you could get a 5-speed manual transaxle, and the S models had 6-speed transaxles. In my mind, there are no bad Porsches, but older models certainly have their quirks. The Boxster, by contrast, is a modern car. You have proper heat. The M96 engine is water-cooled, so you're no longer suffering with heat exchangers. You have proper modern AC. It's no longer an afterthought. And these are actually reliable vehicles. This is the fruit of Porsche working with Toyota to streamline manufacturing and reduce errors. And it shows. Porsche would go on to sell over 120,000 examples, and now it's thought of as a modern classic, and a great entry point into Porsche ownership. The interiors are interesting, and obviously a product of the 90s bulbous design language, but I feel like it's all aged very gracefully, and now it's very much its own thing. I like that the gauge cluster is a throwback to the early 911s and 912s. So the 911s had 5 gauges centered around the tack, and then the early 912s had 3. Exact same idea here. The driving position, it just feels right, the seats feel right, the visibility is great, especially with the top down. The top up, it's a dual layer, so the cabin is nice and quiet, it keeps all the wind noise out. It's just a very nice place to be, and all nice and ergonomically correct for when you want to just drive like a jerk. The right Boxster for you really comes down to preference and budget. If you like to drive a slow car fast, bam, base model. Want to feel like a race car driver? Buy an S. Manuals pull a little premium over the Tiptronic cars, and obviously cars with an IMS history will be more than those without. And there are several little iterative changes along the years, but to me, really, the best quality of life improvement is the later model's glass rear window. Obviously, mileage plays a factor, but a well-maintained high-mileage example is still a great example. I would say drive a couple, see what feels best to you, walk away from any of the red flags, and find the best example of what you're looking for. And always get a PPI. Feel free to reach out with any questions. And if you're in the market, we may have just the one for you at enthusiastautohouse.com.